Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Vendetta Sports Media Daily Show. It is Monday, June 26th. I'm Jerry Walker, and alongside me is Jackson Fyda. Jackson, before we get things going, as I always like to ask, how you doing on this Monday morning or
Doing
afternoon?
good. Just feels like we've been doing this a lot recently, so we'll see how much we got to talk about, but looking forward to it.
Yeah, not gonna lie, it seems like it's kind of a little slower this weekend in terms of what's happening in the footballing world. There is the Gold Cup, obviously U21 Euros going on at the moment as well. Some club leagues are still taking place, in Norway, Japan, the MLS, of course. So we'll talk a bit on that at least, and maybe some news as well involved. I guess to start it off, Gold Cup is going on, and we've now had two groups complete their initial games. Group A, which is Trinidad and Tobago, USA, Jamaica, and St. Kitts and Nevis. Kind of a little bit of an exciting game there on Saturday. US played Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago played St. Kitts, and just walk us through that US Jamaica game because it was a little exciting.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I was saying from the get go that this Jamaica team was going to be good. When you look at their attack, all four of them play significant minutes in the Premier League. You have Mikhail Antonio, who is kind of playing as a main striker. You had Bobby De Cordova Reed, who was also playing as a striker, but he kind of came in a little bit, was kind of playing a little bit like an attacking mid of sort, but more like a deep lying forward, I want to say, providing support for Antonio up top. And then on the wings, you had Leon Bailey, who, wow, was he good. And then Damari Gray, who they recently just got, the Everton player. They got him to commit. So you have all four of those guys up top. That is probably the best attack in the Gold Cup, I want to say, in terms of talent, in terms of experience. I don't think anyone's better. So when I saw that matchup versus the U.S., who was starting with Matt Miazga and Aaron Long at center backs, and we had Token, who is usually a right back playing at left back. Those three, I mean, Yedlin, I had confidence in. Yedlin's incredibly fast and he's pretty experienced. So I had confidence in Yedlin, and he made the plays he needed to when it came down to it. But the other three, I was looking at, I was like, I don't know how confident I feel with it. And honestly, Jamaica took it to us for the vast majority of that game. They got the goal. Shockingly, it wasn't one of those attacking players. It was off a set piece. It was Damian Lowe who headed it in past Matt Turner. It was a really good header. No idea what was going on with the marking there. I think it was Matt Miazga who lost it, who lost low, and they took the lead. And then they got a penalty soon after, which luckily Matt Turner's an absolute legend in the net, the Arsenal man. Saved the penalty, and Bailey absolutely flubbed his chance to put it back too. So it stayed 1-0. But even then, even in the second half, they still continued to just dominate us, I'd say. We may have had more possession, but they just look so much more dangerous going forward. And at the end of the day, that's really what counts. It wasn't until I think we subbed in Cade Cowell coming in on the left wing and maybe rolled on in the middle. He actually kind of contributed a little bit where you started to see things shifting a little bit towards us, especially because Cade Cowell is so fast, so willing to go forward. Even though he dribbles the ball off his shin out of bounds half the time, he still produces a lot when he comes on. So he kind of helped with that. And then obviously Brandon Vasquez came in up top. Lucky bounce fell to him. He scored. USA gets the draw, 1-1. Jamaica, though, should have won that game. They look better than we did. And honestly, I think they should be in the conversation as favorites now when you look at the team they have. I know that there's a little bit of a drop-off because you have those four up top who play in the Premier League, and then you have a Phoenix Rising player playing behind them, which is USL Championship. So you have a little bit of a talent drop-off, if you will. But, man, they look so good. And if they can keep that going, I think this Jamaica team could be a real force this tournament and could honestly go and win it.
Yeah, I mean, from what I saw, the Jamaica kind of dominated that entire first half, even more than I would say the second half. And it was those subs. I know we were speaking in the Vendetta Slack channel about it, and you said as soon as Vasquez came on, he might cause a little issues for Jamaica and help find the back of the net. And sure enough, right place, right time to poke that one home and level it back up in the 88th minute. And I think this is a big win for the U.S. Feels
Yeah.
like it's much more of a win than a draw to an extent because obviously they aren't playing their best players. It's a lot of guys who weren't allowed to go and play for the national team because of the club season coming up in a month or so. and all of that issue, but still gave a great fight to a very strong Jamaica team. That this is good start for the U.S. in the Gold Cup after winning the Nations League last week.
Yeah, it is. And I think anyone who thinks of a draw with Jamaica, with this Jamaica team and this U.S. team in particular, as negative, it's not negative. When you look at the players we were playing and the fact that we still have BJ Callahan as our interim manager for this tournament, this was a good result, especially when you watch the game, because we were just outplayed. Again, you can have as much possession as you want, but possession doesn't equal wins.
Yeah.
You got to be able to defend the set pieces, which the U.S. still struggles with doing. So they got to figure that out, and you got to be more potent in attack. I was kind of shocked we didn't start Brandon Vasquez. I really was. Jamaica's got very physical center backs. Vasquez is 6'2". I think he's 6'2", 200 pounds, is able to play with his back to goal, and he finishes the chances when it comes to him. I was kind of shocked we didn't start with him. Obviously, Ferreira, I think, actually did play pretty well. But if you could find some way, I think, to have Vasquez and Ferreira on the field at the same time, that would be, I think, optimal. I don't think that'll happen. But I think Brandon Vasquez has to start this next game for sure. I think he's proven that he can score goals both in the MLS and now with the U.S. I mean, he scored on his U.S. debut earlier this year, and then he scored on his competitive debut on Saturday night against Jamaica. I think he should definitely start going forward.
No, I agree. It was kind of as good as the U.S., as much possession as they had, they weren't really making those opportunities and making good enough chances until he kind of came on and turned things around. So I agree with you there that he should probably be starting come whenever the next game is in probably a couple days' time.
Yeah, for sure.
We're looking at the other one in Group A. Kind of what we expected, I'd say. Trinidad and Tobago won 3-0 against St. Kitts and Nevis. I don't know if there's really too much to have to say about that one. Trinidad and Tobago is significantly the better team, and I believe this is St. Kitts' first time ever in the Gold Cup, so off to a rough start, but it's kind of to be expected.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the game. Everyone in this group should win that game by a lot. I mean, I think they're the smallest nation ever qualify for the Gold Cup. It's their first time ever qualifying. I do love their goalkeeper, Archibald. In the prelims, he helped them win 2 penalty shootouts. So for him, he's a St. Kitts and Nevis legend. I love him, but man, that team is not very good. And basically what we expected. It's their debut in the Gold Cup. Not very good. Trinidad and Tobago, also not really that strong of a team, but significantly stronger than St. Kitts, and more than deserve the 3-0 win they got.
Yeah, absolutely. I honestly don't have too much else to say on it. It's kind of a goal, summary of the game, goal right before halftime, then 2 goals kind of within an 8-minute stretch, including an own goal that put St. Kitts away. So that was all it was there. Up next for Group A action, it'll be on Wednesday, and it's Jamaica against Trinidad and Tobago and St. Kitts and Nevis against the U.S. Predictions, are you assuming it's going to be Jamaica and the U.S. in this one?
Yeah, I think Jamaica takes this. Their attack, again, I'm going to keep going back to it. It's just so strong. It's going to be interesting to see if they play everyone from here on out in the group stage, what they do. Obviously, they went their strongest lineup against the U.S., but they should beat Trinidad and Tobago and St. Kitts and Nevis with whoever they put on the field, basically. So it'll be interesting to see who they play, but yeah, they should win that one. I'm calling 2-0. And then the U.S., that should be an absolute thrashing of St. Kitts and Nevis. I think it will be 5-0. I think, 5-0. I don't think we're going to look incredible going forward, but I still think we're going to win handily. I'm calling 5.
I like that prediction. It's not, I mean, you see Trinidad and Tobago team who's definitely worse than the U.S. put up 3 on St. Kitts. Nothing against them, but the U.S. is much better, I would say, and they should score at least 4 or 5. It could get out of hand if all things are clicking for the U.S. and they do maybe start Vasquez and the attack gets going immediately. We could possibly see 6 or 7, but it's a lot to ask for there. So I do agree it'll be a blowout, and I'll take Jamaica 2-1. I think Trinidad and Tobago will give them a little bit of a fight for it.
Fair enough.
But looking at Group B, had a nice little upset as well as a big blowout win. Group B consists of Mexico, Honduras, Haiti, and Qatar. First one, Mexico versus Honduras. 4-0 win for Mexico.
Yeah.
Talk about a statement coming into the Gold Cup after a Nations League semifinal knockout to the U.S.
Yeah, and they needed to start strongly after what happened because the U.S. game in the Nations League, they were outclassed by an interim manager. They completely run off the field. And then against Panama, that was an even game, and I'm going to say Panama deserved more from just losing 1-0 in that game. Yeah. That Annabelle Godoy bicycle kick was still just
they should have given it to him.
Dude, it was a peach of a goal. How can you take that? I know he's offside, and those are the rules and everything, but I still think you add the all bicycle kicks are goals, even if it's offside. But yeah, even that game, like Panama was playing with Mexico and was honestly outplaying them for large stretches of the game. They fire their head coach. Squad is in complete disarray. Players are threatening to leave, like Guillermo Ochoa. Some others are threatening to leave the team before the Gold Cup. They needed a statement win. They have an interim manager right now. Yeah, Jaime Lozano. So it was I was curious to see what was going to happen. 4-0, they scored in the first minute and then just continually took it to Honduras after that. Yeah. Very good start for Mexico. Bodes well for them going forward.
Absolutely. I mean, you said it there. Scoring 1 minute into the match, you can't ask for anything better. And for Luis Romo to get a second one for himself and his country, 10 minutes or 22 minutes later, it was a great start for Mexico. And they from there on, you had a feeling they were just going to hold on to the ball, maybe pass it around, kind of get another goal or two, which they did. And that was all they wrote. But Honduras I think they got one shot on target. That's not nearly good enough to beat a Mexico team that's coming with some vengeance. And like you said in one of the last week's episodes, Mexico could very well be, or maybe should be, the favorite for this whole Gold Cup.
Yeah, and I stand by that. They still should be with the roster they have and the fan support they're going to get. They should go and win this tournament. But they should have won the last one, and they fell short in the final. So who knows? I was expecting at least for Honduras to do a little bit more that game. I think he's a very dangerous player, plays in Europe. But Mexico completely neutralized him. They did well with that. I'm wondering when they're going to start Santiago Jimenez up top.
Yeah.
He had an incredible season at PSV. Looked like one of the best strikers in Europe, but he can't start for Mexico. I mean, I don't know. They started Martin that game. Martin, sorry. He's good, but I just thought they were going to go with Jimenez, especially after the Nations League debacle. But, I mean, it worked for them. So
one of the things with Mexico is you never have any idea what's truly going on behind the scenes. I know there was a lot of issues when it came to picking the team for the World Cup, so we're not sure, or at least I'm not sure, but maybe there's something like that of why he hasn't started, because he did have a great season for PSV this year and kind of might be deserving of getting at least some more playing time and get a start against a team like Honduras, see what he can do, and just trying something out after that collapse against the U.S. and really, really not a great win against Panama either.
Yeah, in my in the preview I did for the Gold Cup, I was like fairly certain he's going to be one of the players to watch this tournament. It just felt like he's going to have a breakout kind of run, but they're not even starting him yet, so I guess we'll see. But that surprised me a little bit because he had such a good year in the Eredivisie.
Yeah, I do have a question for you. Because I've just been looking at the attendance numbers. We spoke many times. You just mentioned the Mexico fan support that they'll have. We spoke last week on how really it's when U.S. and Mexico play each other that the crowds are really full. Looks like Mexico had 66,000, or the attendance was 66,000 for their game against Honduras, while the U.S. and Jamaica only had an attendance of 36,000. That honestly kind of surprises me. I mean, Mexico was playing in Houston and U.S. was playing in Chicago, but I feel like there should have been more at that U.S. match.
That doesn't surprise me at all. Okay. The way Mexican fans treat Mexico games, it's like a religion. It's like going to church on Sunday. You go, you watch, you support. U.S. fans, we're a little more fair weather just across all sports in general. We go nuts. Like, think about it, for example, we go nuts for all Olympic sports. But when is the last time you've heard about serious people going to track and field events, or
True.
better yet, what's going on in figure skating or gymnastics? We don't care unless it's like a large international competition. The fact that we got over 30 is that's
Okay.
more than I thought we were going to get. Obviously, they didn't open up the top row on one of the sides of Soldier, so that played a part. But they also knew we weren't going to fill it, so they just didn't want to open it up. Yeah, you keep it looking full on camera side as well, which looks better as well. But that doesn't surprise me at all because Mexico fans just treat it differently than U.S. fans do. You know what I mean? They will pack every arena they can for every game, unless it's the third place game against Panama. Then there was no one there. But other than that, they just show up way more than we do. So that's just how it is. I'm still impressed with the numbers we put up for the Jamaica game, though. I'm pretty sure that was more than was there for the Nations League final. So I guess we'll take what we can get. But yeah, Mexico is always going to win those attendance battles for sure.
Yeah. I can believe that. I mean, it's just that culture of this is what it's always been in Mexico. It's always been the top sport and always probably will be. But I do want to quickly talk about the other match in Group B, Haiti versus Qatar. Haiti took that one 2-1. Took a very, very, very late winner in the 97th minute, 7 minutes of stoppage time from Pirot. Wow. I kind of assumed Haiti would be the bottom team in this Group B, but I mean, Qatar jumped out to a lead early as well.
Yeah, and it was a complete mishap, I'm going to say, from the Haitian back line and the Haitian goalkeeper. Just completely – I don't even know what – like, he ran forward, goes to punch it out. I think he hit his own player, punches it into the ground. Absolute crazy melee in the box, and then it was put away by who was it? Yeah, Abdur Asag, who it was kind of an impressive shot when you saw it, the way it kind of bent into that far post, but open net, easy finish, take the 1-goal lead, and I'm like, all right, this is kind of what I think I expected, what everyone expected, because Qatar has done well at tournaments that aren't the World Cup recently. You know, they reached the semifinals of the last Gold Cup. They won. They're champions of Asia recently, so they're good in tournaments like this. But then after that, Haiti took it to them. They look good. Like they that wasn't like a game where it's set piece, oh, crazy goal, counterattack. No, they were taking it to them minute after minute, creating chances. They looked like the better team. Etienne had a few chances, hit the post as well. And then finally they get the goal back. And then, 97th minute. The way he was able to stay onside, who was it? It was it was Pirot. That's his 7th Gold Cup goal too of all time of his career, which is pretty impressive. But Pirot's able to stay onside, doesn't go for the ball on the initial ball because he kind of just launched it forward. He stayed onside, let his teammate get it, crosses it in, completely bodies the Qatar defender, and then just easy tap in. 97th minute goal, huge win for Haiti.
Oh, yeah. Massive 3 points because this now puts them, at least as of now, in second place to the shot to really advance out of the group because they could be – Honduras looked bad against Mexico. Regardless, it is Mexico, but maybe there's a mental thing there now, kind of down on themselves after that. Haiti gets a draw there, or even better, 3 points for them, and they're already on to the quarterfinals. And for Qatar, this is kind of the other way around. Like you thought, like we mentioned before, they've done good in tournaments that aren't the World Cup, and I honestly thought they'd get second in this group. I thought they were probably going to get by ahead of Honduras and Haiti, but seeing them drop that first one and in such heartbreaking fashion has to be so demoralizing for them.
Yeah, especially at the 97th minute winner. I mean, nothing takes it out of you more so than that.
Oh, no, not at all.
You know, like goals like that can elate the ones who score it, can create a huge positive mind shift in the team. But then, on the receiving end of it, that just crushes you because you were right there. It's not your best game, but you're going to get a point. You move on, and then you get nothing out of the game. And now you have to play You have to play Honduras, who yeah, they didn't look great, but they could turn it around. They're a decent enough team. But then you have to play Mexico on the final day. And Haiti now takes pole position for that second place spot, you'd have to say. And as surprising as it is, and it is an upset, Haiti in Gold Cups causes madness. I remember one Gold Cup, they took Mexico to extra time in the quarterfinals, I want to say. So they can do bits at the Gold Cup. And they're doing it again right now. And Perot, that's his 7th goal in a Gold Cup throughout his career. So he knows how to score in these tournaments. It'll be interesting to see what Haiti can do going forward. They have Mexico up next, though, so it's going to be tough.
Yeah, like you mentioned it. Yeah, 2019 Gold Cup, Haiti took Mexico to extra time and ended up losing 1-0 in the semifinals. So they can find ways to cause some chaos for sure. And who knows, maybe with this expanded World Cup, they could see themselves eventually qualifying for that, which would be probably pretty historic for them because I don't believe they've ever qualified.
No, they have not.
But looking ahead at their next matches in Group B, it'll be Thursday, Qatar against Honduras and Haiti versus Mexico. Predictions for those two?
So obviously the most interesting one going on will be I completely lost it again. Can you go again? My internet kind of cut out there.
It's Qatar versus Honduras and then Haiti versus Mexico.
That's why I assumed it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm thinking Qatar is going to have to win that game. That there's going to be all the pressure on them now. People were thinking they could be a dark horse in this tournament because they reached the semifinals last team, barely lost to the U.S. in a game where they missed a penalty kick. This could be – I think Qatar is going to win it. I think it's going to be close. I'm calling 2-1. But I wonder if the pressure is going to get to them. And they have kind of fallen off hardcore in recent years. They were the best team in Asia, and they were competing with the CONCACAF giants of U.S. and Mexico the last Gold Cup. They looked really good, but then the World Cup, they just absolutely sucked. Like, there's no way around it. They were terrible.
And as hosts, it's expected more.
So you wonder if that's going to continue on now to this Gold Cup and in the future. And I feel like this Honduras game is going to be a huge defining moment for them because they need to turn things around now. You lose to Haiti in a game you shouldn't lose to. You got to turn it around in this game. Honduras can maybe use that against Qatar because Qatar is going to be feeling the pressure more so than they are and get the win. But again, Honduras just looks so bad in that Mexico loss. I don't think they'll get it. I don't think they'll really do much. I think they'll get a goal, but I think Qatar wins 2-1. And then I'm calling Mexico 3-0 over Haiti. I think Mexico is by far the strongest team in this group. They're going to show it in this next game. Haiti, I love them. I hope they go through, but I think, Mexico completely dominates the game from start to finish, and they continue their positive start at the Gold Cup.
Yeah, I agree with you on the Mexico over Haiti one. I do think Mexico is just the best team probably in the whole tournament, them and possibly Jamaica. Can't count out the U.S., obviously, but as far as just on paper, those two look like the strongest. I think they get it done relatively easily against Haiti. But I'm going to take Honduras. I think Qatar giving up that 97th minute winner to Haiti is going to be a very disappointing and demoralizing thing for them. Meanwhile, Honduras, sure, they lost 4-0. Sure, they didn't have a ton to look at. But this is Mexico. They're like, oh, we played the best team. Now we weren't necessarily expecting to win that. Let's go and beat Qatar, and then we can beat Haiti and still advance. I feel like for them, it's much more of a we have to win this. Not that it's not for Qatar, but with the goal difference now, they need to come out and score a couple. I do think it'll end up being probably 2-1 to Honduras. That's my prediction, so we'll see.
I could very easily see that happening. I'm still thinking Qatar, but what you said could very easily happen.
Hey, that's the thing about this sport is you never know what's going to happen. We can make as many predictions as we want.
Dude, most of them are always wrong. When I look back at the predictions I made since joining Vendetta, I'm like, dude, wrong. It's right. When you get it right, you feel so hyped because there's been so much crazy stuff happening recently. Like the Borussia Dortmund one that that we made that they'd win the league. What are the odds that they ended up not winning the league? But that's just like you said, that's just how soccer goes. That's our sport.
Yeah, I still think my favorite thing about that is they didn't even they had the real trophy in Dortmund for the Dortmund match because they assumed that they were going to win it, and sure enough, somehow, some way, they didn't. So Bayern had to celebrate with a replica.
Mm-hmm.
Different story for a different day. We're still talking Gold Cup action here, and I'm going to kind of preview today's two matches in Group C. We have El Salvador versus Martinique, and the one that we talked about before we started this, it's kind of caught our eye, Costa Rica and Panama.
Yeah.
We start with that first one, El Salvador, Martinique. What are you kind of expecting from both teams?
Don't count out Martinique. We're not going to probably pick them in any of these games.
Mm-mm.
But they can do some damage. They've got players who play in Europe. Obviously, Martinique's not a FIFA member, so their only chance of playing in FIFA tournaments is if they play for France because they're a French overseas colony, I want to say, or territory. I forget what it is exactly.
Territory.
Yeah, but they have been to multiple Gold Cups in the past. They did have a massive upset over Canada a while back in the Gold Cups. I remember that one. It was a huge deal. Martinique can cause some mayhem if they get it right. They've got Brighton LeBeau playing as a forward for them. He plays in Switzerland. He's a good player. They've got some other decent players around him, playing in the lower leagues in France. But they're probably going to lose this game to El Salvador. El Salvador, much stronger team. I love Hugo Perez as a coach. I think he's a very good coach. I was kind of wondering if you'd have an outside shot at getting that U.S. head coaching job because obviously he played for the U.S. way back when in the 90s. He's doing a very good job with El Salvador. He's recruiting a lot of dual national players, especially from the U.S. They've got a good little thing going. They're very hard to play, especially in El Salvador. The U.S. struggled when they had to play at El Salvador last year or 2 years ago, I want to say. But, El Salvador is going to take this game. I'm going to call it 2-0. I think they're the better team. Martinique shows flashes going forward, not able to get it done. El Salvador gets the win. Good team. El Salvador definitely has a shot at getting out of the group. But the two that I think are going to end up getting out of the group are the two teams that are playing in the first game, Costa Rica and Panama. And outside of the U.S., Mexico, and Jamaica and Canada, I feel like these are the two teams that you'd have to figure would have an outside shot at winning the tournament, especially when you look at how they perform historically. Costa Rica, very good results in the past, both in World Cups and Gold Cups. They do pretty well. And Panama is no slouch as well. This will be a very interesting game. I think, obviously, whoever wins this game is probably going to win the group. I think Costa Rica is going to get it done. I still think Costa Rica's got a pretty decent squad. I think they win 1-0 in a very, very close game.
Okay. I like that prediction. I think that's going to be a very, very close one, and still believe that both those teams will get out of the group stage. Starting on that one, I don't know who gets the win today, though, because I always think Panama will do what they can do, and as I've seen them get it past teams that they shouldn't necessarily be beating in the past. But Costa Rica, I know they're an aging team, and I'm not exactly sure of who they have on their squad for this tournament, but it's one of those teams that you just cannot count out one bit.
Yeah, sure.
Seems like it's definitely still have Joel Campbell, still have Borges. They have a very experienced team, so I'm probably going to lean to them just slightly. But like I said, I could see this being a 1-1 draw, a 0-0 draw, or like if someone is to win, I'll have Costa Rica probably 1-0. But it's going to be one of those very back and forth close games.
Yeah.
And as far as El Salvador and Martinique go, I would expect El Salvador to win. They haven't won a game since June of 2022, so just over a year without winning in a competitive match or even a friendly. I think this is the one that kind of gets off their back and they finally get a win. And who knows, maybe this sparks them to get another one against either Costa Rica or Panama, and we could see them get out of the group stage.
Yeah. And all it takes is that one game to get the momentum going. Could change everything. I think this is the group, though. If you want to watch like the most competitive group, it's probably this one with those three teams and Martinique, who can cause problems. I would have to say this is the group of death.
Yeah.
We'll give it that nickname for this Gold Cup, the group of death. Sorry, Group C.
Yeah, I would love to see Martinique get a win at some point, even a point, just throw some mayhem in there. But I just honestly don't see it happening. I think it's too small of a country and not talented enough players to compete with at least Panama and Costa Rica. But who knows? Hopefully, say that on here and now get proven wrong. We see some history being made.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's a Gold Cup, man. Crazy stuff happens. One of the most fun tournaments to watch. You still got to put African Cup of Nations one, but then after that, I think you can make an argument for Gold Cup too.
Oh yeah, you definitely can. And do want to get your thoughts just on the last group we have that kicks off their action tomorrow. Group D, consisting of Canada, Guadeloupe, Guatemala, and Cuba. Canada versus Guadeloupe is the first game tomorrow, and then Guatemala and Cuba. I think it's safe to say we think Canada should win this group. After that, I think it's an absolute crapshoot of who that second team is.
Yeah, for sure. I was looking at it. I was like, I don't know who I'm going to pick. You got to favor Guatemala, but like why? You know? Like it just feels like you have to favor Guatemala, but I don't have a good reason why I'm picking them over Guadeloupe or Cuba. I think any of those three teams can get out of the group because they're playing each other. Any other group, they're finishing probably bottom, I'd say. But somehow the draw has somehow given Canada a cakewalk into the quarterfinals. No disrespect to all our Guatemalan, Cuban, and Guadeloupean listeners.
Absolutely.
But no, Canada should dominate this group from start to finish. They should kill Guadeloupe. They don't obviously have Davies or Jonathan David, but they still have a very good squad. They should win this game by over 3 goals. But then, Guatemala and Cuba, I'm going to have to give it to Guatemala. But who the hell knows? You know what? We're going to say Guatemala 2-1 over Cuba. But, yeah, I don't know about this group.
Yeah, I'm honestly not sure. I was doing a little bit of research earlier before we started just to see who the hell these guys have even played as of late. And I mean, Cuba did play Guadeloupe earlier this year, and that was a 1-0 win for Cuba. So based on that, they're going to finish ahead of Guadeloupe in this Gold Cup group. But I still, like you said, I think I got to lean with Guatemala to get that next spot. I think they will beat Cuba today. I think it'll be tomorrow. I think it'll be 1-0, maybe 2-1. But I also think Canada will wipe the floor with all three. And I don't really think the winner of Group A will have which is either U.S. or Jamaica. I don't think they'll have any difficulty beating the runner-up of Group D to advance to the semifinal.
No, not at all. They should walk through that. And Guatemala, fun little tidbit, they have Rubio Rubin playing for them now, which I saw that and I was like, you click. He played 7 times for the U.S. way back when. He's currently playing for Real Salt Lake in the MLS, but I guess he never played in a competitive match, and he was able to get that one-time switch. But Rubio Rubin has experience playing in Europe. He had at least 41 appearances. I'm going off of Wikipedia here. This is cursory search, but at least 41 appearances for Utrecht in the Eredivisie. Then he played in various Scandinavian countries. Then he played in Mexico, and he's currently playing for RSL now. He's a baller. He's a good player. I remember when he played for the U.S. He did decently. That's kind of surprising to see him on that roster. That's got to be the danger man going forward in this group, besides any of the Canadian guys as well. And Guatemala also has Nathaniel Mendez Lang, who plays for Derby County. He looks like he was born in Birmingham, but of Guatemalan descent. So, yeah, they've got those two, and I guess I'm going to say those two are going to be enough to carry them into the quarterfinals, because when you look at Cuba and Guadeloupe's roster, it's not great.
No, it is not. It's I mean, all three of these teams aren't the best, but I think we both agree on the fact that we're going to take Guatemala is that second best, or not even second best in the group, the slightly least worst.
Third worst.
Third
Third worst.
worst of
Yeah.
those teams. That's more the wording I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's the only way to put that one, man. That group, that is not going to be the fun group to watch. If you want to see absolute shitters of games, though, which sometimes are fun to watch, yeah.
Let's just say if you want the most chaos and the most who knows what's going to happen, but the worst quality, this is your group for you.
Hey, those were fun though, man. There was like the prelims when I was watching St. Kitts and Nevis in the prelims. Ooh, those games were fun to watch. Hard on the eye, not easy on the eye at all. But man, it was fun.
Oh, I bet. But moving on, we're gonna hop out of the Gold Cup and talk about another international tournament that's going on at the moment. The under 21 Euros are taking place at the moment in Georgia and Romania. I don't know if you've watched much of that yet with the Gold Cup going on, but have you?
I haven't watched a single game. I've just been kind of keeping up with the scores ish. I know Emil Smith Rowe scored the other day for England. I get all those Arsenal updates, but no, I'm not seriously following it.
Yeah, I haven't really followed it all that closely either. I see all the scores, so I know kind of where everyone's at. And really, it's the only teams that have really looked insane, I'd say, are Spain, possibly England, and then France. Those are the three that have kind of won both of their matches so far. You can also throw in the Ukraine won both of their matches, but that's because they played Romania and Croatia.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting one when you look at these games, though, is how Georgia is doing.
Yeah.
Look at the group they have. In their group, they have Belgium, Netherlands, and Portugal, and they're winning that group right now because they beat Portugal 2-0, and then they tied Belgium 2-2. They're looking like favorites to advance. In their final game, they're going to be playing against the Netherlands, who are on 2 points. So granted, if the Netherlands win and Belgium wins, they're out. But other than that, they're in a good position to go through, which if you looked at that group prior –
you said they're going to be bottom.
No, you wouldn't think that. And I know they're a host, which is obviously going to play a huge part. They're probably going to get way more fans at their games than any other game. It's kind of like when we were watching the U20 World Cup. All the Argentina games were packed. In other games, it was like everyone's mothers and girlfriends. That was basically it in terms of who was watching.
Yeah.
So that could play a huge part. And it looks like it has so far because they're on 4 points and they're winning their group. So that's a huge surprise.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you just think of the country of Georgia, you don't necessarily think their success on the soccer field, especially against the likes of Belgium, Portugal, Netherlands, who do great things in all sorts of international tournaments before at the senior level. So it's kind of surprising. You did mention the host. The other host is Romania, and they are out after just 2 matches. They've been eliminated. Tough scenes for them, but not overly surprising when they had to play Spain. And like for some reason, Ukraine always has a very good youth team. You mentioned when we were talking about the U20 World Cup, they won it last time. So
yeah, I guess Shakhtar just is producing some talents in Dynamo Kiev as well.
Yeah, and I mean that's got to be a brutal one for Romania to lose. Looking at the stats of it, Romania lost to the Ukraine on an 89th minute own goal.
Oof.
Heartbreak.
Oof. Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, that's what put him through.
Looking at the other groups in here, Group C, England has won that group in advance. Czech Republic are currently second with 3 points. Germany and Israel both have 1 point each. Last matches are Israel versus Czech Republic, England versus Germany. I know Israel had a good run at the World Cup, the U20 World Cup, so maybe they'll be able to keep that momentum going a little bit at the Euros. Don't know necessarily how similar the players are for the teams because I know it was U20 and U21 now, but
yeah, different teams, I think.
Yeah.
For the most part, at least, yeah.
You think either Israel or Germany are able to catch the Czech Republic going into the last day?
I mean, it's definitely possible, especially, I mean, as weird as it is for Israel, because if they win, they go through basically. Because I think England's probably going to win that game. They look like the the strongest team in this group for sure. I mean, they've won their first 2 games. Emil Smith-Rowe is balling out. Got 2 goals so far, so hopefully he can keep doing his thing. But yeah, crazily enough, Israel is a team that would have the best chance of doing so. Granted, Germany gets a win and Israel gets a win. It could be complete chaos on that final day, so that could be fun to watch. And shout out, big ups to Israel's youth teams right now. U20 World Cup, massive showing. They made it to the U21 Euros. I don't know what they're doing over there in Israel in terms of youth development. And I know Maccabi Haifa has made the Champions League a little bit, but that's basically as far as my knowledge with Israeli football is going. But looks like they're doing something right now. So fair play and keep it up. Make things interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a good time to be an Israeli football fan. And who knows, you get a win against the Czech Republic paired with an England win or draw even against Germany, and you're into the quarterfinals of the U21 Euros.
Mm-hmm.
There is one more group to look at, which France is leading it with 6 points, followed by Italy and Switzerland with 3 apiece, and Norway has 0. Norway plays Italy, so you'd have to think the Italians will get that six points from that, or end with 6 points after that, where Switzerland plays France. I don't know. I don't think they're going to be able to get it done. I think it will be Italy and France at the moment. But
yeah, I think it stays like that. I don't think Switzerland gets the win. France's youth teams, as we've seen in the past, are just so good, man. I mean, their senior team too, but we don't want to talk about that right now. In terms of youth teams, they're always really good. Yeah, I think France takes care of that game easily. Italy gets the job done. Those two go through. Simple as that.
Don't have too much to debate about that. I think it is those couple teams will get it all done, and who knows? We will be moving on to the quarterfinals starting on July 1st, so next Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what's going to happen there, but move on from there. Is there any other news you kind of want to talk about? I know we mentioned before possibly that Man United fans will be protesting.
Yeah, looks like they're planning another protest about the Glazers, which, I mean, it feels like every 6 months you got a new Manchester United fans are protesting the Glazers. Yeah, it's looking like they're upset about how long this whole sale thing has taken, which is a little understandable because they want the funds to come in so they can get those players to compete with Manchester City. You know, they want that to happen. And Ten Hag has spoken about how frustrated he is that he doesn't have everything he wants right now to get that done. So, yeah, it looks like they're going to be planning a protest that will happen outside of the Mega Store when it looks like they're launching the Adidas kits. So, yeah, fun times if you're a United fan. Always something to protest about ever since 2005.
Yeah, pretty much since Fergie left, and even before then, it's been worth protesting. And I still don't understand what's happening. I feel like if the Glazers were going to have sold, they would have done it by now and gotten it over and done with. But the more and more we go and this whole thing drags on, the less and less likely I think it'll be that they actually do end up selling. I really wouldn't be surprised if there's still the majority owners come the kickoff of the season in a couple months. So.
Yeah, I mean, you fit like how many is that? 5 bids from Qatar, I think. 5 bids. They thought it was supposed to be done in what, April?
Mm-hmm.
Here we are. We're nearing the end of June. Nothing has happened yet. Dude, I don't know. The Glazers, man, they're probably the most hated name in Manchester right now is Glazer. I don't think there's anyone else that could take that title.
No, it's just pure chaos. I mean, we saw the issues with the Super League when that was starting. Glazers just want the money and they don't want to have any part of it. And honestly, from a fan that isn't a fan of Man U, I love seeing the chaos. Hopefully it affects to their on-field performance as well come next season, but who knows?
Is Bagdonis is a Man U fan, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I know he's a Man U fan. I think Cervantes is a Chelsea fan.
Yeah. Ah, dude, fun times for them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm strutting my stuff as an Arsenal fan after a decade. We haven't even won anything yet, but I'm still feeling a lot better than being a fan of those clubs. And it's always better to be a fan of any of those clubs than to be a fan of Tottenham.
Yep.
I'll say that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The most depressing fan base in English football, I would say.
Think about it. One in 2 games, Balogun's already won more trophies than Harry Kane.
Yep. Hey, don't forget Harry Kane has the Audi Cup.
Oh, he does. You're right. Mighty, mighty Audi Cup.
Yeah. Yeah, Leeds won promotion, played 3 seasons and were relegated since I think Tottenham won that Audi Cup.
Yeah, it's been crazy time. Speaking of Leeds, man, what about Brendan Aronson to Fulham?
Doesn't surprise me. I think I don't rate him very much anymore. Like the first half of the season, I thought he was great and had all this potential. Then for somehow, some way, after he got back from Qatar, his level of play just completely disappeared. And I was very, very disappointed with him. And McKennie I wasn't happy with. The only American that I really enjoyed having was Adams, and then he got hurt. And that's kind of when the season started collapsing because he is very, very, very good.
And he looks like he still might leave even though he's hurt.
Yeah, he probably will. I mean, these guys have stuff in their contracts where they are relegation clauses so they can get out of their contracts for cheap. I'm fully expecting Aronson to end up somewhere probably in the Premier League, likewise with Adams. I do think Fulham's an interesting fit for Aronson just because seems like they already have a good amount of skilled talent, skilled attacking midfielders and some forwards where Aronson would play.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he'd be just a depth piece, help off the bench a bit more than he did at Leeds, where he was a starter for the most part. So that'll be interesting. But I honestly don't dislike the fit at all. I think they'll allow him to use his skill on the ball to kind of move around. He just has to work on finding that man after he gets by a defender.
And one of the key things for Marco Silva is his ability to press.
Yeah.
It's looking like that's kind of what's attracting him is he will run and run and run. So for a mid-table kind of team like Fulham, who realistically is probably going to be fighting relegation again in the next few years unless they somehow get a lot of funds in and get a consistent group of players together. I mean, even Leicester got relegated after winning the league. So I assume that it's going to be kind of something like that eventually. So that could be something of interest. You can put him in late in the game. He will press those tired defenders, could cause some mayhem. But, yeah, man, he just wasn't very good in the Premier League after the World Cup. It looks like a complete loss of confidence.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened. Because before that, he was never, great. He was never holy crap, Brendan Aronson. But, he could do bits. He would beat guys on the ball. He pressed, what was it, Mendy? He pressed and scored a goal because he just pressed it.
Yeah.
Out of him. Yeah, he would do stuff like that. But then after the World Cup, he was just a shell of the man he once was.
To me, it seemed like he was almost unmotivated when he came back from Qatar. And he was like, oh, my goal is to play really well in the Premier League, get to a position where I can start on the U.S. at the World Cup, then gets back and he's like, oh, don't have any more motivation to help out anymore. And I still will say Weston McKennie is so unmotivated the whole time that I wonder if that brought down some attitude from the other American players at all. I would like to think not, but
yeah, you'd hope not.
Jesse Marsh leaving, I don't think helped either because he was Aronson was one of the players he brought in from his time in the Red Bull program. So
yeah,
just unfortunate. And now Leeds are still searching for a manager.
Yeah, dude. I hope you guys figure it out. I'm glad you got new ownership. I hope you figure it out.
Yeah, the championship season starts August 5th, so just over a month and a week until the season starts, and we don't have a manager. Love that.
Yeah.
I don't even know who's really there. I know Patrick Vieira's up there. Daniel Farke, the guy who was at Norwich for a while.
That would be a good one.
Yeah, I think both of them would work out because Vieira wasn't bad at Palace, and Farke knows how to get promoted out of the championship.
Yeah, that's fun. You don't want to keep him after you get promoted, but to get you there, yeah.
See, I think he would have a little bit better of a backing at Leeds in terms of the financial side than he did at Norwich. So maybe gets a couple players in, but I still think it'll be a whole different team come next season. It's just a matter of time. We're all just waiting for that transfer window to open, which I believe opens on Saturday, July 1st. So
Yeah.
get ready for the chaos.
Whew, it's gonna
Have
be
a lot of news coming out.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of writing ahead of us, man, because we've only been covering the stuff that is set to happen,
Yeah.
being reported. There's all this other stuff as well. Madrid now is hopeful the Mbappe deal this year. That would break not just our site, but break the internet, man. Like that would game changer.
Do you think he goes?
I have no idea. I don't know. Like I don't know because he said no. I'm staying another year. Like I'm finishing out another year. But I have no idea. That money talks, and PSG could just be like maybe finding ways to try to screw him over if he stays another year. That maybe he does go this year. I think it's more likely than not he stays another year and just finishes it out and moves on a free transfer because it's Mbappe, and it just feels like that's something that Mbappe would do because he's Mbappe.
Yeah.
But
You mentioned. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's gonna be interesting to see what's gonna happen over the next few weeks because I have no idea.
Yeah, I just feel like PSG will not want to let him go for free. That's the only thing I can think of is they're going to try and sell him now, and if they can't get a deal done now, do they try in January to sell him, or is that
just feels less gaspy though, and it feels like Mbappe won't feel as motivated to do it at that point because then 6 months and I could just go for free and choose where I want to go, So
he's just waiting. Mbappe is waiting to become a free transfer and pick what team's he going to pick to go to.
I still think it'll be Madrid at the end of the day.
I agree.
But
back to Monaco.
Back to Monaco is a shout.
Back to Monaco would be sick, honestly.
Miami?
No, he's going to go. Who's Inter Miami's rivals? Orlando?
He goes to Orlando City.
Orlando.
He goes to Orlando City, man. I might just quit following. I don't.
God. I could not imagine any. I mean, I know Kaká did it, but I feel like Orlando's not one of those cities that are necessarily as glamorous to move to as an international player, as much as Miami, obviously LA, New York.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you got Universal Studios. That counts.
Yeah,
no, it's not. Nani went there as well. I guess if you want that Florida lifestyle and Inter Miami ain't coming for you, then I guess that's your option. But
what would another funny one be? Gotta see him go to St. Louis or Cincinnati or something.
Montreal. Get that French speaking thing going. That's what Drogba did.
Yeah, that's a good point. Drogba did go to Montreal. Why not Mbappe too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or here's the even worse one. He waits a year, goes for free to Man City to team up with Erling Haaland.
Oh no.
Oh God.
Dude, oh my gosh, probably.
Premier League. Actually, I wouldn't stop watching it, but I would sincerely stop following it as closely.
Bro, we wouldn't have a shot. Arsenal wouldn't have a shot, and that would crush me because we've been doing so well, building and building and building to get here, and then Mbappe, if he were to come, I'd just be like, all right, game over. I'm watching friggin' Bundesliga from here on out exclusively.
Yeah. Strictly the EFL Championship.
Oh yeah, that too. Good. We got that Sheffield Wednesday Leeds match to look forward to next year.
Oh yeah, I wonder when that is. Let's see, because I know those fixtures came out last week. So let's see.
Yeah.
September 2nd at Leeds and March 9th at Sheffield. So
all right. Yeah. Gotta mark the calendar. September 2nd is a Saturday.
Yep. And March 9th is probably also a Saturday.
Hopefully I don't have a game then.
Oh.
What's going on then? Either way, we'll find some way to banter about that.
Oh, 100%. And when does the Premier League schedule? It's out now, I know.
Oh, yeah.
When does that season start? It's Oh,
Looks like August 12th.
August
Yeah.
12th.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be a fun one. Arsenal against the MLS All Stars. I hadn't realized.
Yep. It's Matt Turner, man. He's doing bits over there.
Yeah.
In the league.
Yeah, they play Man U at MetLife, Barcelona at SoFi. Then the
City
big
Community Shield.
Emirates Cup.
Yeah, the mighty Emirates Cup.
Against Monaco. Saturday, August 12th, starting out home against Forest. Does Arsenal finally get it done? You think they will have a chance of winning the title this year? Or you think it's all Man City again? Or even someone else like Newcastle or Man U or Chelsea?
God, I hate thinking positively as an Arsenal fan. So we have a shot. Like we 100% have a shot. Now we have Havertz is a good depth piece. Did you see what is coming out about Declan Rice? He prefers North London. That has come out. He's preferring a move to North London. I don't know how reliable that is, but I am going to run with it and let my imagination and dreams go wild with this one.
Declan Rice to Tottenham confirmed.
Oh my God, dude!
Could you imagine that last minute switch?
Oh, I cry. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so if we can get Declan Rice, we have Havertz as a good depth piece. And it looks like Timber wants to come to Arsenal. Looks like that's going to happen. It's just a matter of the finances, getting that over the line. We'll have those three and whoever else we might possibly get in as well. We've got a shot. City still should be favorites by far.
Yeah.
Granted, they're losing their captain, going to Barcelona. They might lose Bernardo Silva. Maybe, but then they'll just obviously go and reload. They have Julian Alvarez coming up as well, so they can just throw him in. So it's kind of hard to say that's going to make a huge difference, They're going to get Kovacic, and Pep will probably turn him into a world elite center midfielder. So
probably.
Who knows?
Let's see what the betting odds are for. Just out of curiosity, yeah, Man City. Oh God, Man City's minus 175 to win the Premier League. Tied second is Arsenal and Liverpool at plus 750. So it's not even remotely close. It's Man City and then everybody else.
Yeah, that's kind of what you'd have to expect.
Throw me a dollar on Luton Town plus 100,000.
Dude, you never know. If they sign Ethan Horvath, I'll throw in $5. If they sign him permanently and he's their starter, $5.
Who knows? This is, as much as I get annoyed from betting and it's not necessarily the best thing, it is very – I love watching the numbers and seeing how the odds change for teams and all that. But
you're not a big sports bettor?
No, I definitely do enjoy sports betting. I won my bet last night at the NASCAR races.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely nothing. I just threw some money down on a dude and he won. So
fair enough.
That's great for you.
I don't sports bet because I don't need sports betting to enjoy sports.
Yeah, no, I don't either. I just
March Madness. And I did throw in $100 bet that Arsenal would win the league. I did do that earlier this year because my friend was pissing me off. I ended up losing that. I wrote a whole post about that.
How Arsenal owes you 100.
Yeah, that was just a straight rant.
Wasn't it you beat Leeds, went 8 points clear, and then just collapsed?
Collapsed, dude. I think it was a Saliba injury.
Yeah.
Maybe City still would have caught up, but they wouldn't have caught up like they did if Saliba didn't get hurt because we're not getting scored on 3 times by friggin' Southampton. The Saliba injury just ruined things, I think. And yeah, $100. I gotta find a way to pay it back. I'm thinking nickels, dimes, and pennies, given at sporadic times throughout the year. I think that's the best way to do it. The only fair way I could do it.
That's fair. Is there anything else? We're about at that hour mark. Anything else you want to say?
I guess Inter Miami got Busquets officially over the line, so they're going to have to change things or turn things around quickly. I think they've lost, 7 MLS games in a row?
Something like that. They're not doing too hot.
They are terrible. So we'll see if Messi and Busquets can create the ultimate MLS turnaround. I want to see that documentary come out on ESPN in a year, so be watching for that. But apart from that, pretty slow week. Stay watching the Gold Cup. And when the transfer window opens up this weekend, I'm sure we're just going to get absolutely flooded. So calm storm.
Yep, it is indeed. So guys, stay tuned for next weekend and the couple weeks after for all of our soccer transfer news coverage that we'll be having for Vendetta. Check out our stuff on the website, Twitter page, subscribe to our Twitch and YouTube channels. From Jerry and Jackson, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.